Good morning, everybody. Another sideways day in the market as the bulls prepare for their move to 30K instantly overnight, which it seems to be the only sentiment that we can get. Meanwhile, the bears prepare for the move down to 4,900. We're going to talk today on this show how to protect yourself in case the market does continue going sideways. As it seems to be, we are one of the few voices out there that are advocating for the danger of that are looking at the technicals of that are pointing out the different converging factors as we move into the end of 2019, Christmas right around the corner, 2020 on the books, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about all that today and more, as well as answer your questions. Let's get going with today's exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin.
I'm Naomi Brockwell for NBTV, and this is Breaking Bitcoin.
Told you guys I was going to find some more clips for that Breaking Bitcoin intro. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Of course, today is Wednesday. It is December the 11th, 2019. Foul year of our Lord. Hopefully you guys are doing absolutely fantastic wherever you happen to be tuning in from, and whether you are watching us from across the YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Facebook Live, or on Roku, that is. Woo, with the Investor News Channel app. If you guys want to support the show, if you enjoy the show, if you enjoy what we're doing here, make sure to subscribe over on the YouTube channel. Give us a follow if you're watching on Twitch or DLive, and share the video clip around. The link is in right down below you, wherever you happen to be, or above you in your browser bar, to your friends, to your family, to people you don't even like. This information is important and we want to get it out there. Let me know how you guys are doing in the live chat. It is there for you guys to communicate. Listen, a little bit of a pre-warning. We've got a couple staff members that are taking a break today. So you guys are going to get Justin, raw, unfiltered, in control of the stream. Hide your friends and family. No, it's going to be a great show. We're going to talk about the technicals a lot, obviously, because that is my specialty. That is what I always go to. That is what I am an expert at. We're going to be talking about risk management. We're going to be talking about trade strategy building. We're going to be talking about setups. We're going to be talking a lot about the charts. So if you guys came here for some news, it's going to be a fairly slim news day. If you guys came here to just talk about the technicals and break down Bitcoin's price and talk about how to be a profitable trader, then this is the stream for you. Before we get going, I want to thank yesterday's crypto comment giveaway winner, which was, let me just pull it up here. I know it's here somewhere. Ricky Thompson. Ricky Thompson. I just had to think about it for a second. Thank you so much, my friend, for your continued support. And today, of course, we're going to be doing something slightly different. So yesterday I popped the question. Not that, it's not like we're married or anything, but like maybe one of these days, if I meet the right live viewer, it could happen. All right. The dream is alive. But I asked you guys to guess what would be the closing price of Bitcoin last night. And we will be checking that today. And whoever got the closest bid will be winning today's crypto comment giveaway winner. I want to thank, of course, today's crypto comment giveaway sponsor, who is Spectre Security Coin. Make sure to go check them out at spectresecurity.io. Fantastic guys, fantastic team. Hit them up for all your security needs, whatever your project may be. With that being said, let's get over here and give away some cryptocurrency, guys. All right, so let's go check out yesterday's video. Or no, that's not it. That's not yesterday's video. You guys want to see an old video? Look at that. Who uses that blue background? Man. Okay, geez. Where's the videos? This is popular uploads, breaking Bitcoin market updates. Oh, here it is. MATIC meltdown. Okay, MATIC meltdown leads to altcoin mayhem. Let's see here. That's definitely not a real comment. Okay, so of course the closing price last night was 72.1927 on the Coinbase chart. I should have mentioned that. We are going to be using the Coinbase chart. So let's just go double check and confirm that. Yes, closing price was 72.1937. All right. So whoever got closest to 72.1937, let's see. Ugochill with 72.20. $72.09, that's 10 off compared to 11 off. 72.18 on MEX. 71.32, 72.31, 5,900 would be wonderful. 72.54, 73.75, 69.25, 72.11. I don't think we're going to beat 72.18. Agency saying 8100, 7011, 7304. So relative, I want to point this out. This is telling, guys. Fantastic work for all of you guys. Very, very good. Very, very good bids. But with a few outliers, Mechanic quite bearish. Mr. Ether quite bearish. Most of these, I think everybody had it about right. We've got 70.29, we've got 72.50, so 72.51, 70.71. Everybody pretty much kept it in a tight range. And so what that says to me is that a lot of people, are kind of getting it. You got, the viewers of this channel are very special traders. So for those of you who are just joining, but a lot of you have been with us for a while, and you guys have learned and getting better all the time with your trading. And what that tells me is that you guys are understanding volatility, you guys are understanding market structure, you guys are understanding typically how price begins to move, and that should be showing, I hope, in your actual profitable setups. So I do think it's going to be very, very difficult to dethrone Mr. Danny L. Great bid, only off by $1, my friend. Get a hold of me in the Discord and I will tip you some crypto, my friend. With that being said, to the live scene. And here we are, guys. Here we are. Oh, you know what? You are right. You are right, Ugochill. I did get that. I did get that wrong. Let's see here. Let's go back and look at that. You did say 72.20, didn't you? 72.18 and 72.20, which makes you technically closer. So you are closer. You're right. Ugochill, I got to give credit where credit's due. I apologize, my friend. And I even remember that we talked about this briefly last night in the general chat of our Discord. So, you know what I think is the fair thing to do? I'm gonna give you, since you actually were the closest, I'm gonna give a huge shout out to you, Ugochill, for actually being the closest. Although I do not want to forget Danny L. What I think I'm gonna do is I will go ahead and I will tip you guys both some crypto. How's that? Yes, I know. I'm wrong. I apologize. Hopefully the 20-second delay does not make you quit the stream, my friend. So I'll tell you what, Mr. Ugochill and Danny L, get a hold of me in the Discord and I will tip you both some crypto. Did not mean to steal your moment there. Listen, you do not have to be the best at basic math to be a good trader. Just kidding. Oh, you guys are so sweet, man. You guys are sweet. Danny L even saying, he's like, you know what? I just commented right before the daily closed. The other guy's the winner. Oh, you guys are awesome, man. Do I think MATIC will bounce? Most likely, yes, actually. I talked about that yesterday. Talked about setting some bids down at the 123. Apology not accepted. Hang this man. Take him to the cleaners. Who is this dude live streaming anyways? All right, we're going to have a great show, guys. We're going to have a great show. Yes, quite a boring and predictable market. So let's talk about where we are right now on the daily. Let's bring up our beloved baseline. We're going to talk about the basic things today. Now, listen, I just want to point this out. It is often in these moments, and I'm not saying that we're going to get a huge move coming in, right? I've talked about this before. I've talked about this very, very consistently. My TA has been very, very consistent, for quite a long time, but particularly I want to point this out over the last few weeks. And I don't really have a lot of time. I don't really watch any other YouTube channels, and I don't really, except for my team, I don't really pay attention to the analysis that anybody else posts. But what I have noticed is, just by doing a brief scan and hearing what people tell me, is that particularly over the last week, it seems like a lot of other content creators are continually coming out with, one day it's going to pump, and then the next day it's going to dump, and then the next day it's going to pump. And that's kind of silly, you just need to, and that's okay. Like, again, like, I'm not that can happen, right? Where you're like, I'm very, very bearish, and then you see something as part of your analysis, and then all of a sudden you kind of flip the script. Now, typically, more mature traders will not flip the script so severely. They'll talk with nuance, as I do. They will say things like, obviously we're in a bearish setup. However, we are keeping our eye on this factor, which does lead to some discretionary trades. And if this factor should occur, then we will be looking to position into a long, or we will be vigilant and looking for an immediate flip of our position to take the breakout. Like, they will know their plan ahead of time. They won't just be reacting to the market where all of a sudden there's a big green candle or a big red candle, and where they had previously been bullish or bearish, now all of a sudden, just because price moved with certain momentum in a direction, now they've changed their long-term macro view, right? So we always have to be aware of, in my opinion, 3 tiers of assessing the market, right? And 3 tiers of trades that you can put on, right? So A, you have your positional trade, right? And for me, positional trading in Bitcoin is always going to be, am I spot long or am I hedged with a short sell on a futures contract, right? So if I'm spot long, that just means I'm holding my Bitcoin, I don't have any hedges on it. I don't have any, I'm not short selling, right? And I'm just spot long, right? It's very, very simple, right? And this is going to be determined either on the daily. This can also be determined a little bit better on the weekly with your baseline or other factors that you can incorporate into your strategy. I do think that baselines and moving averages tend to work the best for this rather than momentum oscillators, because you want to understand the general direction of the trend. And I'm really not aware of anything that's a little bit more that's more simple and generally accurate than something like a moving average that you have back tested and is verifiable. So this is going to determine whether you're spot long or hedged short on Bitcoin. And often for a lot of my students, this does dramatically, and for myself as well, that simple thing right there is often what determines the biggest change to people's trading results in Bitcoin, right? Because your trades in Bitcoin can be, break even or maybe even small losses over time. It takes time to develop that break even and then begin growing as a profitable trader. But in Bitcoin's quite unique in the fact that if you just know when to be spot long, you can often ride that trend for several months, and it occurs several times a year, right? So several times a year, you will positionally generally change your stance, right? So you're either long-term hedge short, and you're going to hold that hedge generally for 4 to 6 months, or you're spot long, and you'll generally hold that spot long for 4 to 6 months, and then you will move that, right? So that is your positional analysis. That's your macro analysis of the market. And that's going to be changing. You can analyze that with the monthly. You can analyze that with the weekly. You can analyze it with the daily with a little bit of discretion there. The other thing that you can do as well, the next tier of trading is going to be your daily trend. What is the daily trend? What is the midterm momentum of the market, right? And this is going to be your trades. Are we in a long trade or are we in a short trade, right? And all of that is going to be couched within your positional trade. So if you're spot long on Bitcoin and you're longing and you're shorting, that's all fine. That's all well and dandy. That doesn't necessarily mean you go and throw off your hedge just because you're taking a long trade. Okay. And this is going to be determined generally on the daily chart or the 4-hour chart or the 8-hour chart, some either higher meso time frame or the daily, right? And then you kind of have your day trading, your short-term trading, right? Now, typically, I'm always going to recommend that you guys take the time and patience to automate this. These are going to be your reversion to the mean strategies. These are going to be your scalping. These are going to be your liquidity grab trades. These are going to be your reversal trade setups. And these are going to have a lower hit rate than your meso time frame strategy, your daily time frame strategy, same thing there, and your positional strategy, right? Your positional strategy is there to protect you and allow you to capitalize on massive movements in the market. Your daily trend, your daily setup is there to allow you to take daily trades. And if you so choose, your lower time frame setup, your scalping setup, that's going to just allow you to kind of be a consistently profitable trader and capture opportunities that otherwise you might miss out on the higher time frames. And now this is going to be running on the 30-minute, the 1 hour, maybe the 2 hour, maybe the 15-minute, something like that, right? Some of you who even get a little bit more advanced with your scalping and who are looking for direct liquidity grabs might even do this in lower time frames. I generally don't recommend that at all. Then you're kind of getting into HTF, even though HTF in Bitcoin is not even like HTF as it's done in traditional markets, but still you'd be trading at high frequency. And you have to have a very, very good edge because market fees will eat you up. Of course, you can be executing with limit orders, but that's a little bit more complicated to program, right? So just keep that in mind. So I think that kind of, approaching the market like that is a good thing. And so mature traders will speak like that, right? They'll be like, listen, I am spot long on Bitcoin and I'm going to be holding that position for months unless X happens. That's when I will hedge, and I will be hedged until X happens. On the daily or on the meso time frames, I'm looking to take price to the upside with these targets. And on the lower time frames, I'm either scalping to the upside or I'm scalping to the downside, right? Or I'm playing the range. So all of these things can be true at once. And having all of these things in your strategy, I think, is really good and what you guys should aim to build over the course of a year or two, right? It does take time to flesh these things out. Obviously, if you really throw yourself into it, you can do it quite quickly. A lot of my students are doing this in 3 to 6 months, but it does take time. It takes time because not only do you have to develop the skills technically, you also have to develop the patience and the discipline psychologically. And, that all plays into your money management and your risk management skills. And that all comes down to psychology and just being comfortable and patient with your trading, right? And allowing your system to work for you. And a lot of people a lot of people just need to put the time into building the system in the first place, right? A lot of people just want to jump to the results, right? They see, people like myself, or they see, kind of the fakers and the scammers and the LARPers on Twitter posting big gains, or they see, like very over dramatized or glamorous like lifestyles of a trader, right? And I try to give you guys, what a trading lifestyle actually looks like, right? It is a very liberating, very beautiful lifestyle. I work for myself. I don't answer to anybody. If I wanted to, I could wake up when I want to. I can take vacations whenever I want to. I can work from anywhere. I can work remotely. So I am out of the 9 to 5 grind. But I also live a very frugal lifestyle. I live a very disciplined lifestyle. My lifestyle is a lot about family. My lifestyle is a lot about my friends and family, as I said, and accountability, right? So I use all of my extra time to save money and work hard and invest. And invest in passive income, all of these things to protect me, right? My goals have never been to get rich, although trading has been quite good to me. My goals have always been to pass wealth on to my children. And also, I want to be the guy that no matter what the market does, steady as she goes, right? I have consistent income that comes in every single month that provides for my needs, that allows me to be, that has allowed me to create this bundle of wealth that I can utilize in cases of hard times, to purchase what I want responsibly, to be able to create this basket of wealth for my children so that they can become entrepreneurs and they don't have to get kind of sucked into the, kind of the college scam, general education, blah, blah, blah. But also, obviously just teaching my kids good fundamental skills and critical thinking and ethics, which I think really kind of helps with all of that. But if you abrogate the rights of child rearing to YouTube or daycare or whatever, then you're going to have a much more difficult time to the parents out there. So start young, start early, and you're going to have your life's going to be a lot easier as far as your children go. And then you won't have that kind of, rags to riches in 3 generations, right? Or shirt sleeves to waistcoats back to shirt sleeves in 3 generations, as the old adage goes. Anyways, technicals on Bitcoin. On the daily time frame, we did close below the baseline 2 days ago. We had a subsequent close below the baseline yesterday. And unless we see a significant movement in the market today, we will also be closing below the baseline today on a very short squat doji. Generally, we have noticed that doji candles do tend to give us a reversal, whether it is short, it depends on the momentum that is generated based off of that. So I would still be... So let's just zoom out here. So let's start on the monthly, kind of being concise with what I talked about. On the monthly is quite bearish. We've talked about this. We've talked about this before. If looking over at the hash ribbons indicator, which I believe is right here. Here's the hash ribbons indicator. We are still in the thralls of minor capitulation. Minor capitulations often lead to blow off bottoms. If we look at BitMEX funding is still quite positive. Very, very unlikely that price moves up dramatically on positive BitMEX funding with everybody trying to short the market. We've obviously looked at longs to shorts. Longs to short ratio is at an all-time high on Bitfinex. And we did kind of have a good chat about this in the Discord about how that number is wildly divergent from other longs to shorts ratios. But and so I also talked about on the stream like how that is easily manipulatable. And so you want to be very cautious with basing kind of your trade setups or your factors on that. But something to be aware of and cogent of is this idea that, a lot of larger traders do actually trade on Bitfinex. A lot of these, kind of Bitcoin whales or holders of large amounts of Bitcoin that do have the potential to move the market, they've been utilizing Bitfinex for a very, very, very long time. And unfortunately, in the kind of crypto world where we live in, if you are a very large trader, you generally have a personal relationship with the exchange because things are just not as professional and as regulated as traditional markets where that's an extreme no-no. Those things do exist. And, obviously with Bitcoin, it comes down to trust. Like, do you trust if you're holding thousands of Bitcoin and you have the ability to move the market and you're, again, a Bitcoin whale, are you going to be holding that Bitcoin on Binance if you don't have a relationship with Binance, you don't trust Binance? Well, probably not. You're probably going to be holding it on Bitfinex where you have a personal relationship with the staff and you trust them. Bitfinex has been around for a long time, and for all the, the fire and the fury that kind of associates them, there is a large swath of old school Bitcoiners, i.e. whales, who do business with Bitfinex. That's a reality. They have the entire weight of the Tether treasury behind them. They have the ability to make significant moves in the market if they so choose. And so that, I think, is just something to look into when you're looking at that divergence between longs and shorts. Now, whether, again, this is not really, I don't really have an edge so far, just ideas and thoughts that if you guys have good ideas on, I'd love to hear them and maybe we can chat it out. So whether this is, just the traders on Bitfinex just happen to think differently about the market and we should counter trade that, or we should look at that as confirmation, would have to be back tested. And so it would be an interesting concept to kind of look through. So let me know your guys's thoughts on that. These are just the things I think about when I'm home alone and the TV's off or broken. Things like that. But anyways, going back to the monthly, not only do we have those kind of fundamental concepts that we see in Bitcoin, but we can also see that from a technical standpoint, we did close below the baseline on a powerful Wada-Tar sell signal, rising explosion level to the downside, increasing bearish momentum, confirmed Minx cross under, and CCI below the dynamic zero line. It's very bearish, and again, this often leads to a blow off bottom. Do I think that we're entering into a protracted and prolonged bearish trend? I really don't think so. It really depends on how long this takes. I do think that it's more likely that we do get more ranging here for quite a while. Potentially we talked about this length of ranging, potentially 2 to 4 more weeks, maybe a little bit longer of that in this particular range before a very, very, very sharp and sudden movement to the downside. But it's going to depend on the nature in which we approach 4,900, which is my lower downside target. If we approach it on very high momentum, then a bounce is likely, consolidate down there for a while, and then we can talk about new all-time highs. But if we just kind of chug down toward it, like very slowly, very depressingly. Often when you approach support or resistance, supply or demand, if you approach it very quickly, then a bounce is very, very likely because that movement is absorbed and, that shows exhaustion of sellers or buyers, depends on whether you're moving up or moving down. But if you approach a level very slowly, that shows building momentum, and often you just tend to blast right through support. So remember that. That's a very good concept, right? When you're looking at, like if you see a very large candle and you're wondering like, should I counter trade this? Is this a great time to buy? Which often it is. Or you see a very large green candle and you're like, is this a good time to sell? And often it is. You just have to look at, are we approaching a significant level of supply or demand? You can use VPVR for this. I much more prefer doing that than subjectively trying to determine support and resistance based off candle lows or highs or anything like that. And, then you can kind of look at, okay, well, did we kind of creep up to this level? Or, were we a pretty far away, a ways away from that level, and now we just blasted up to it? So typically, if you just blast up to a level of supply, you're going to reject. If you blast down to a level of demand, then you're going to bounce up. And if you creep toward those levels, you tend to just shatter right through them and continue going. So it's going to depend on the nature in which we approach this. And I'll be monitoring that on the daily, as I think you guys should as well. So obviously the monthly quite bearish, the weekly quite bearish as well. We do have currently on this weekly close, and of course we're only halfway through the week. So, but we do have a bearish engulfing rejection from the baseline on the weekly so far. Continued rising explosion level, higher bearish momentum than on the previous candle from Wada-Tar explosion. CCI below the dynamic zero, and of course Minx still below the noise line, and setting us up kind of for a continuation signal here as we kind of move forward. So still quite negative, unfortunately. Going to the daily, kind of the same thing. Now, looking at that kind of short squat doji candle and approaching again, here's the thing. This is where it gets a little, not too tricky, but just a little bit here. Let's kind of zoom out here. I do want to zoom out on the daily here, and let's just bring up VPVR. We can actually scroll over a little bit here. Okay. So VPVR, we still have that point of control, that pretty significant level coming down there. Again, right around the $6,900 level, a little bit lower, actually, excuse me. It's actually 60. So it's actually lower than that. Sorry, it's 6,401. That is going to be the level that I do expect us to have some trouble breaking through. And again, as I said, sharp stabs down to that level, you'll probably get a tradable bounce. If we just creep down toward that level, then we're most likely going to blast through it in a pretty sharp peak down to 4,900. That's what I would expect. Kind of zooming in a little bit tighter on current price and range. Looking at, just kind of where we're, this actually looked a little bit better on the 4 hour. So we'll just put VP Vero away because we're on the daily. And so I want to just kind of look at the longer term trends here. Yeah. Here we go. That's a little bit tighter here. So if we look at VPVR, we look at developing value area, we can see the lower boundary is right around the 6,900, 68. It's actually, I'm going to say 6,900 because it's at 68.60. So that level is still kind of where we're currently finding demand for Bitcoin. And again, sharp stabs down to that level, probably tradable bounces, slow creeps down to that level. We begin to look negative, and that 6,400 would be kind of our next stop, the next level that I kind of have marked out on the chart here. And it's also, again, the very end of the high volume node here for Bitcoin. So wicks down to that area is kind of what I would expect here. Getting rid of VPVR. Let's look at our EMAs here real quick. Also looking quite negative here on the daily. We've gotten 3 rejections from our tertiary baseline, the 21 exponential moving average here. And again, all of our MA is kind of coiling up on low volatility. The baseline, the Hall moving average 20 period. The 13 exponential moving average, which I know many of you are still using for your baseline. That's fine. It's a fine baseline. And of course, our tertiary coming down. And again, that daily baseline crossed under the 13 and 55 moving average, which occurred over here, did lead to a very nice bullish movement, or bearish movement, excuse me. Now, the only thing that I would be on the lookout here for is the secondary baseline, still sitting at 80.40 today, just creeping down a little bit lower. That is where I would expect us for bullish moves to the upside. That's kind of my ceiling, right? Getting above that 8,000 level, we have to kind of start looking at like a little bit more pronounced upswings, and we kind of have to consider the potential that we are going to experience a local bottom, right? Doesn't mean necessarily we're going to be entering into a long swing, but it's definitely something that we want to consider. I do think that we would want to be positioned before that because, again, as you can see, we've rejected from this level of supply 3 times, meaning if we get a nice close above that tertiary baseline, the 21 EMA, so that's be a close above 75.30, I'd be looking for that long swing up to 8,000. I would that would be a trade for me. That would be a breakout trade for me, and I'd be looking to take that. We don't have any confirmations from PTP for that on the daily right now. And actually looking at the doji and just kind of looking at this low momentum to the downside, I would still say that I think the intraday trade is most likely going to be to the upside here, most likely still playing this reversion to the mean range right now. So looking kind of for that bounce to 7,300, maybe even 7,500. And then I would be looking to take profit there and just wait, because if we do get that close above the tertiary baseline, it's also going to be a close above the primary baseline, and we can be looking for that long swing up to that secondary baseline at 80.40. And so something to consider there, definitely something to consider there. But I would not be putting my hopes and height above that 80.40. In fact, as I said previously, that area is where I do want to get filled on a short if we do get up there, because I do think that's probably going to be the last opportunity before we do end up kind of sliding down to 4,900 eventually. I expect us to kind of pop up there maybe. If we do, we don't have to. We can just go down from here or just play this range. But any kind of corrections up to that $8,000 level, I'd like to be getting short on. I'd like to be getting short on that right now. Whereas, I wouldn't say that, if we go down to 6,400 or 6,900, I want to be getting long. No, we're still in a macro bearish trend, so I'm not going to be looking to call the bottom of the bear market, right? I'm not going to be looking to call the bottom. Like everybody here that's trying to go long, that's why BitMEX funding is quite high, is speculating that this is the bottom of the bearish trend that's been going on for a couple months now. And I think they're quite wrong. And again, that's why it's inappropriate to be calling market tops and bottoms. That's how you get wrecked. So just wait, trade the trend. When we're bearish, every correction is an opportunity to short. When we're bullish, every dip is an opportunity to long. So just remember that, because you're only going to be wrong once. That's when the trend breaks, and then you just reposition, wait for the next correction, and then boom, Bob's your uncle. Getting down to the 4-hour chart, kind of looking at the meso here. Let's get rid of the CC EMAs. And let's actually get rid of the baseline and just kind of look at structure right here for this range. And again, this is where I do want to bring up VPVR. Again, we can kind of see right there below the point of control. That point of control coming in at 7,400. We are kind of in this HVN range, low volume nodes above us, low volume nodes below us. I would say, again, we've bounced from this area. This would be our fourth, maybe fifth, depends on how, kind of what you want to call these kind of intraday movements that we've seen. Like here is a tradable bounce. Here was a much better tradable bounce. Here is a tradable bounce. Here's a tradable bounce. Potentially coming up to a tradable bounce again. I would be a little concerned kind of looking at this again, as I talked about, we're kind of creeping down toward this level of support rather than blasting down to it. So I would be a little concerned about that. So if for those of you positioned in a short, I would be looking to secure some profit at this level and be prepared to be taking kind of this breakdown short if we do get it kind of down to that 68, maybe again, even that lower target would be 6,400. But I would still think that kind of looking at this, the setup that you would also want to be playing, and again, you can hedge this with your positional trade, which should be, of course, your spot long should be, of course, hedged short and should have been for quite a while. We've been advocating this for quite a long time on this channel. Your positional trade should be hedged. You should not be spot long on Bitcoin at this point in time, unless you want to put, you want to stake your name set on calling this as a market bottom. That's fine. That's your choice. But I think that you're going to be in trouble if you do that. Your daily trade, your meso time frame trade, can be to the downside. I would be looking for a re-opportunity to get in at a better price. So maybe that 7,500 here. But of course, you'd be kind of looking to take that. We talked about that daily trade closing above the 21 EMA. So you'd kind of be wanting to pull that or take the small loss on that and then take the swing long from 75 to 8,000 and then get meso time frame short at 8,000. Or I wouldn't really be positional because that'd be trading on the daily, but you get my point. But intraday here, I still think that the trade is most likely the upside. Now, wicks down to 70.81, which is currently where that lower boundary range is at. And 6,900, I think, would be where one would want to have some well-placed long limit orders. But be willing to take the L on that, right? Don't get captured into a long trade. So definitely be trading with a stop loss on that. And potentially even be prepared to have that flip you into a short so that you can get into a breakout trade to the downside for your meso time frame trade, because of course you can see that the trend on the meso time frame on the daily is to the downside. So definitely something to be considering there. So again, you can play both sides of the market, right? You can have multiple trades set up. You can do this with multiple accounts. You can do this with the same account. In fact, go into the Discord, go to Trunker's Lair. Trunker is one of our junior analysts. He's a fantastic trader, and he's got a very beautiful setup of how to do everything that I just explained, basically with hedging short and taking long simultaneously and using multiple stop orders. He's got a beautiful write-up on it in his Trunker's Lair channel. So definitely go make sure to check that out. He does a little StarCraft theme for his channel. It's pretty funny. It's pretty awesome. So definitely do not sleep on that channel. It's a good channel for good education. All right, so that's what I'm looking at today. Getting over here. Getting over here, what do we kind of see on the daily? Obviously, we are now in a Renko trend. We have not yet printed our second brick. Let's see here. And we don't have any momentum indicators on the Renko. So we don't have any confirmations except for the baseline, right? So we've had a very profitable flip back here. We had a very profitable flip here, unprofitable flip, profitable flip, profitable flip, and so far 2 unprofitable flips. So, a very large win, large win, large win, large win, large win, small loss, small loss, small loss. So something to consider there. So we don't have, and again, so this would be flipping us into a bearish trade and bearish setup. Obviously one common strategy, you can do this with Heikinashi or you can do this with Renko, is you're only taking trades in the direction of whatever your trend your trend is telling you. So you can use this for your positional. I think it's a little bit better for the daily and the meso time frames, but I digress. Again, coming in here on the 4-hour, we are below the baseline on the 4-hour. Wada momentum. Minx is turning around a little bit. So again, at least a movement up to 72.41, or even potentially that point of control we talked about, 7,400 is on the table. Pretty low momentum here on the lower time frames. We did have a pretty high volume spike here to the downside. So far, we've gotten a bounce back to the VWAP on today's daily. We are below the point of control on the daily here. Kind of putting in a nice point of control down here again at this previous. Here, let's zoom this one out. Look at this one. So you guys can see here that this was a previous tapped point of control back here that we did tap once, and now we've tapped it again, grabbed some liquidity below that low. So this could be a stop hunt that we are seeing to the downside. Again, not the not the blow off volume, not the outlier of volume that we want to see for a reversal movement. So let's just kind of see how price consolidates and grinds along here. Just make sure you guys are, again, if you guys are positioned, hedged, then you're going to be largely safe no matter what happens in the market, and you'll be making money on the side just by having the right position open. You know, be very vigilant with your daily trades at this point in time. Again, we kind of talked about you guys can be looking for the breakdown trade if we do break below this range as we kind of move in here toward the end of the day or going into the weekend. And you can still be playing reversion to the mean because that's your risk management should be auto built into that. Okay, so with that being said, let's go take a brief look over at Ethereum. Ethereum, again, overly bearish. FZ19 shorts would be good at this point in time. Again, very little recovery here from Ethereum on the daily at this point in time, as you guys can see, or excuse me, on the intraday, as you can see at this point in time. A large movement to the downside, not a buyback, just continued sideways. This is not a very good sign for Ethereum. Might be correlated to, you could correlate this to Bitcoin and say, well, this means we're going to get a negative movement to the downside. Remember, Ethereum is often pretty good because it doesn't have the, it has less reactionary buyback or sell-off, so can often be a good lead of their overall trend and direction of the market. Of course, Ethereum has been being sold into fairly good here. Of course, you did get a secondary signal right here. I don't really like taking these high momentum signals. I do always like, if there's a very large candle, I often do like getting the pullback on them. But often, because about 30% of the time, give or take, you can see immediate continuation following a large red candle. Something that you can do is do a split, so 50 on the close, and then wait for a pullback and do 50 at a predetermined level, either targeting the baseline return or maybe just a price percentage level. That again, all concepts that you can backtest. Renko trend obviously quite bearish, and intraday there's not really a whole lot to talk about here. At the current extreme low of the day, forming a pretty high point of control right here, or excuse me, high volume node. So I would actually expect, given a little consolidation, come back, test VWAP, 144.47, maybe even today's point of control, all the way back up at 145.65. And then we'll kind of see retesting supply. Do we continue to head further south, or do we actually kind of reclaim that level for the day? Checking into crypto bubbles here. Pretty good day for altcoins. Pretty good bounce back on the daily for altcoins right here. Let's see here on, especially against the dollar. Engine up 14.5%, Algo up 5.2, Verge up 7.3, Waves up 15.7, Tezos 8.5. Pretty good. Zcash up 6%, Theta, Kyber Network, overall pretty good. Trading against the BTC, they're up as well. So overall, pretty good day in the market for altcoins. Anybody who kind of decided to speculate on a recovery today, you guys did pretty good. Good trades. Where is MATIC in all of this? Do not see MATIC. MATIC up 2% on the daily. So overall, MATIC still kind of, it's going to take a while for MATIC to shake out kind of the nonsense from that movement. This always happens. Again, setting some, let's go take a look at MATIC here real quick, because that's all anybody's kind of talking about here. Looking at MATIC here again, very great buyback. Let's go look at the lower time frames again. If you would have been positioned correctly, had about an hour to take advantage of it. But you could have gotten, let's be realistic. You probably weren't the whale that bought this level, but let's say you just bought the recovery. You could have made an easy, tidy 50 to 30%, and then overall we just kind of moved completely sideways. So I wouldn't really want to be touching MATIC yet. Kind of let some new market structure assimilate itself. Let all your indicators reset. and then start looking for trades on MATIC. Overall, MATIC's a pretty good project, pretty good team. I would expect it to recover, but again, this is altcoins we're talking about, so just be very, very careful. If anything, I would be more happy to really set some like bids down here at the lows. Maybe not at 90, but like at our previous level here, like 120, 123. This is pretty good area to set some limit orders. I think would be a good idea for a retreat back to that level. Because it might take 6 months or so for MATIC to really work itself out and prepare for another run. This was a massive run. These things take a while. These pumps happen once or twice a year. You have to be positioned ahead of time to be able to capture these. All right, so let's head back over to Mr. Bitcoin here. And it is 12:42. So like I said, we don't have a lot of news for you guys today, unfortunately. Sorry. Oh, you know what? Although it is 12:42 and we haven't even checked in with the Bitcoin weather report. So I think it's high time. Obviously we talked about a lot today. We talked about a lot of different analysis. So I think it is high time that we check in with junior analyst Midwest Attempts for today's Bitcoin weather report. Midwest, what do you got for us today?
Yeah, go ahead and park that. Is that the Africanized ones? Yeah, go ahead and park that next to the Virginia Slims. Yeah, they tend to get along. Oh, hey, Justin. Yeah, it's a pretty sideways day, so I went ahead and started myself a bee farm. Got a whole populace of bees. I'm talking Africanized, unafricanized, Virginia Slim, Arizona drippers. I got all sorts of honey, baby. No, to the left. Hold on one second, I gotta check in on real quick. Hey, babies. How you doing? Let's go on, get in there. Ow. Come on now. Come on. Ow. Ow. Bees! Bees! Jesus! Bees!
Can we get an ambulance down to Jason? Yeah? ASAP? Okay, thank you. All right. Hold on, Jason. Help is on the way. Sometimes the best laid plans of mice and men, or I guess mice and insects at this point. Hopes and prayers for a speedy recovery for Midwest Attempts there. Okay. We have a lot of fun, guys. We have a lot of fun. Okay, so let me check in with my team here and see. Let's see if we got some questions. Okay, so we got we have a question here from Jai English, and he asks, "Morning, Justin. I'm about to drive, so just wondering, would you be able to explain how the fees on Bybit work, please? Thanks." Sure, Jai. Thanks for the question. The fees on Bybit work just like BitMEX. So you pay a taker fee if you are taking from the order book, meaning if you execute a market order. So if you market buy or market sell, you're going to be paying a 0.075% fee. So we can work that out here pretty quickly. So let's just say that let's say that you're executing like a lower time frame strategy. You're doing reversion to the mean. Perhaps you've automated this, right? And you are doing 5,000 contracts with, let's say a 1.5% stop loss every single time, right? Remember, your stop loss is going to be a stop market order. So every time your stop loss gets hit, you're going to be paying that fee as well on trades on your market order executing against the books right at that moment. So let's take 5,000 times 0.00075, right? Because it's that's how it works. It's not 1%. It's not 7%. It's not 7%. It's not 7.5%. It's 0.0075. So you're going to be paying $3.75 in fees for every 5,000 contracts or dollars, because one contract is equivalent to $1. So you're going to be paying $3.75 in fees every single time you execute a $5,000 market order. And so if you get stopped out on that trade, you're going to be paying $7.50 for every single trade. And of course, if you happen to market exit at some point in time, you will have to subtract that $7.50 from your total profit. Okay, which means that for $5,000, let's say you get, this is a scalping strategy. So let's say you get a half a 1% movement. That's only $25 profit. So if you're taking profit at 0.5%, so 0.005 in decimals, you're only making $25 in profit. And if you're market entering and exiting, you have to subtract $7.50 from that. So you're only actually making 17.5%, and you're paying about 25% of your profit in fees, right? Now, this might be tenable if you're doing this multiple times through the day and you've got a fairly consistent strategy. But if you start factoring in losers on that trade, so again, if you're taking profit at, let's say, 0.05%, we would assume your stop loss in most cases is going to be slimmer than that. So let's say your stop loss is something like, let's say it's half of that, right? You got a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Well, you're going to be losing, you're going to be losing $12.50 on every losing trade, because 2.5% or 0.25% is going to be a $12.50 loss on a 5,000 position. So then you add the market fees in there, and you're paying $20, right? So these quickly start to add up and subtract from your overall profit, because you're going to be losing $20 on every winning trade, and you're only making $17.50 on every winning trade. And you can see there that math just doesn't add up, right? And this is really the kind of nuance, the kind of professionalism that you start getting when you start actually building strategies instead of just randomly trading and clicking buttons, which is what most people do. Oh, trend line. Oh, Bollinger Band. Oh, RSI. And then they don't actually go in and calculate fees. And actually, so you have people that are winning trades, and then they look in, they're like, why am I not making money? And you have all these things out there like, plug your API key in and this bot will automatically trade all your money for you. No problem. Just select these stock strategies. You're all good to go. And they don't understand why they're having winning trades but not making money. It's because you don't have an edge in the order book, right? Your trades are not set up. You're not calculating things like fees. And we didn't even calculate slippage in there. Now, trading with 5,000 contracts, you're probably going to get almost no slippage, right? But if you are trading with 50,000 contracts, conversely, you're probably also not going to get slippage. But once that number starts to go up, dramatically above, once you start approaching the 6-figure range, slippage is going to be real. Slippage is going to be real, even minor slippage. And that minor slippage adds up dramatically over time. Conversely, in BitMEX and Bybit trades, in BitMEX and Bybit, the way that our futures platforms work, they penalize you, they punish you for taking from the order book or executing a market order, but they reward you for making the book, for entering a limit order, right? So conversely, you actually get money for doing a limit order. You make 0.025% or 0.025% on every limit order that you execute, right? So under all optimum conditions, you would want to be using limit orders. Now, you can actually cleverly get around market orders if you're trading with, like, let's say you're trading with a lower 5-figure number, might be a little bit more difficult. But if you're only trading with 4 figures, so you're doing 5,000, maybe 5 to 9,000 contracts or lower, then often what you can just do is what we call spamming the books. So you can just go find out, whatever. Let's go. What's the market price right now on Coinbase? And Coinbase is not a good example because they just charge you a fee. Doesn't matter whether you're making or taking. But right now, let's say. Let's pull up Bybit. So this is going to be a good example. So let's go over to BTC USD on Bybit. BTC USD on Bybit. So we can see that the current price is $7,179.50. And the each tick, Bybit uses 50-cent tick increments, right? So price cannot go to, as you can see, price is now 7,180. It didn't go from 71.79.50 to 71.79.75 or 71.75.82. It went from 71.79.50 to 71.80, meaning the Bybit only works with 50-cent ticks or increments, right? So you can just set, that means that, if you wanted to go place a bid on the books right now, the closest, if you wanted to market buy, you would be executing at whatever the lowest offer is, or excuse me, whatever the lowest bid, whatever the lowest offer is, right? So whatever the lowest sell is, which would be the next increment up. So if market price was at 71.80, if you market buy, you're going to be market buying at 71.80.50, right? And if you market sell, you're going to be market selling at the lowest bid, which would be 71.79.50, right? So 50-cent increments. If you market buy, you're going to be taking liquidity from the very top order, and if you market sell, you're going to be giving liquidity or taking liquidity or whatever from the lowest offer there. So what you can do is, if you want to get around market fees, so often with our strategy, like, the daily close, we're looking to market enter into our trades. We just want to get in now because we know the trend. We might have some drawdown, but the trade will most likely go in our favor eventually. So we want to have a very no stress way to enter the trade. Well, what you can often do, again, if you're trading with like 9,000 or below, you can do this with higher numbers, but it just depends on the liquidity. Every single day is a little bit different. Sometimes it might just take a while. If you're patient, it'll get filled. But all you do is you go to the order book, and whatever the market price is, you just go to the next tick increment. So let's say the price was at 71.80. Just set your limit price. You can just click the next to your order price or execution price. When you're setting a limit order, there's a minus and a plus button, and that's going to move the order price up in increments of the tick, up in increments of 50 cents. So just go up 50 cents and set your limit order there, right? And you'll see it just look like it's sitting right on current price. But once it gets tapped, it'll get filled, and you'll get that maker rebate for your trade. So again, let's say that you're trading with 5,000 contracts. 5,000 contracts times 0.00025. You're going to be getting $1.25 rebate. And that doesn't sound like much, but that adds up over time, especially when we looked at that $3.75 that you would pay to be executing a market order, right? So when possible, you always want to be using limit orders. This is kind of a unique aspect of Bitcoin derivative markets as they currently exist. Will this be like this forever? Most likely not. But because liquidity is an issue on these on these markets, they do want to incentivize market makers as much as possible and larger traders as much as possible to provide liquidity to the books, right? And if you don't have limit orders, remember, market orders take liquidity from order books. Limit orders provide liquidity to order books, right? And the more liquid the order book is, i.e. the more limit orders, just the better market that it is overall. Okay. So great question. Great question. And again, if you double that, now you're going to be making $2.50 extra on every single trade. So that adds up over time, percentage-wise, right? It adds up over time, percentage-wise. So whenever possible, you always want to be using limit orders for your exits. You do need to use a stop market order for your stop loss, right? Do not use a stop limit order for your stop loss. Do not do that. Because if you do, you will complain. You will complain. There will come a time when you will get a very large movement and your stop limit order will get filled at the very top of the wick. Now, that can happen with a stop market order, but it's much, much, much rarer that it actually happens, right? So although it can be annoying to get wicked out of positions, I would say that you either need to be trading on a higher time frame or revisit how you enter your stop loss. So often, if I am trading on the lower time frames and I get filled, right, I will wait. Like I'll be okay with drawdown. I'll have a price where I'm like, okay, listen, if price gets closing above this on the hourly, I'm going to be out of the trade. My trade's invalidated. But most of the time, price doesn't just keep running, right? Most of the time when Bitcoin's in a range, which it often is, most assets trade in a range because of liquidity, it'll go up. You'll get to that point of peak pain where you're like, oh man, I should get out of that trade. And then, you're like, I'll just hold on a while. And then it keeps going. And then now you're at that point of maximum pain where you're like, oh my God, it's just going to keep running. I should flip long, exit my position. And then what usually happens right after that? Price comes back down to where you're entered, or you could have sold at less of a loss, or even put you in profit, right? So you got to be aware of that, because that moment of max pain is often almost the same moment for the entire market. That's why the market turns around right there. So just keep note of that, right? And a good rule is just setting a time delay on it, right? So whenever you reach that moment of maximum pain where you're like, I have to exit my position, it's gone too far, it's never going to come back down to where I entered, or come back up to where I entered. wait 15 more minutes, right? Just walk away from the computer and come back, and often price will come up. Now, you do need to have, in this scenario, I do recommend that you do have a hard stop loss somewhere outside of where your regular stop loss would be, because you do not want to incur a massive loss. You can incur a big loss to your trading account on especially with using margin. If you don't have that, I have to cut off my loss at this point in time. But for most traders, I'm just going to recommend that you always use a stop market order for your stop loss. Set it as soon as you set your limit entry or your market entry, as soon as you get into the trade, and that's it. And if you get wicked out, then you need to revisit your overall strategy and not complain about getting wicked out because you're trading lower time frames on a highly volatile asset. And that's just how it is, man. You need to revisit your strategy and maybe go to the 4-hour or the daily or the weekly and trade on that and get good at that, and then start zooming down in with more discipline and patience. Okay. So I hope that was helpful. Great question. I'm actually going to clip that as a Breaking Bitcoin Bits or Trading Crypto 101 actually, because I think that that's an answer I don't hear very often, and I think that people need to understand about the nuances of trading on Bitcoin derivatives exchanges. So thank you, Jai. All right, guys, we're going to answer a lot more questions when we come back from the break. Again, not going to do any news today. We're going to come back from the break, answer these questions, keep watching the charts. It's probably going to be a fairly short show today because we're going to come back from the break, answer the rest of these questions. If you guys have some charts you'd like us to look at, we'll look at those, answer your questions, and just have some more fun, guys. But first, we do got to take a break. I got to go stock up on some coffee, probably all caffeinated for the day. I'm probably going to grab some water, do some deep knee bends. And you guys know I've been going for an hour straight, so you guys got to give me a break sometime, right? We'll be back in just a few minutes. Make sure to throw any more questions you have in the live chat or chart requests. We'll take a look at them to the best of our ability. We're going to hop over and have a word from our friends over at Bybit, and we're going to revisit our friend Jason, Midwest Attempts. If you guys are enjoying the show, make sure to give us a thumbs up on today's YouTube video. Highly appreciate that. Also, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell if you have not already, because we are here Monday through Friday, noon to 2 Central Standard Time, breaking down the markets, giving you guys our opinions, educating you guys to the best of our ability. If you guys would like to trade along with us, you can, of course, check the link at the top of the screen. Links in the description down below to everything you could possibly need in your life. And also make sure to go check out the podcast over at breakingbitcoin.money. Highly appreciated. If you guys enjoyed the podcast, something you can listen to on the go, we do our best to get it uploaded at the end of every day's show as well. So anyways, guys, we're going to go have a brief word from our friends at Bybit. We're going to take a break, and I'll see you guys in just a few moments.
This is Jason when he first learned about Bitcoin margin trading on BitMEX.
Why? Why? Give it back! Give it back! Give it back!
This is Jason 6 months later after signing up for Bybit with the Cracking Cryptocurrency referral link found in the description below. Don't make the same mistake as Jason. Sign up today at bybit.crackingcryptocurrency.com.
And we are back. Hey guys, hopefully you're doing fantastic. Thanks for holding through the break, and we're going to get right into the second hour. But before we do, as we always do, I do want to reward our viewers over there on DLive. So I'm going to throw some lemons in this here chest. And if you guys donate lemons throughout the show, or you're active in the DLive chat, when I distribute the rewards here in a few moments, you will receive a percentage of whatever I put in there. So I just put 50 lemons in there. So for people who throw out 2 or 3 lemons, it's possible you're going to get 3 times or 4 times or 5 times as many back, as Forza World TV has noticed several times. So don't miss out on that, guys. You can come follow us over on dlive.tv/Cracking Crypto, or just search for Cracking Crypto in the DLive browser. Great platform over there. Really enjoy it. Okay. Getting into our questions here. It's Hard asks, what are those below your chart? Great question. So the gauge on the wouldn't help if I pointed. So on the left-hand side there is going to be representing several things from over at ScalpX Index. So let's actually go show you guys. So from Scalpex Index, we have the first one on the left is going to be the Fear and Greed Index, and you guys can go check out their documentation on how they calculate the Fear and Greed Index. But this is just going to be a social barometer of, is the market fearful, typically representing a good time to buy, or is the market overall greedy, generally representing a good time to sell, for those of you who are counter trading social sentiment. The social index is in the middle. And that is going to be tracking Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, things of that nature, bitcointalk.org. Again, you guys can refer to their documentation on how they actually calculate that. And that is something that is proprietary to them. As you guys can see, social index is getting quite high, which is often, again, for those counter traders out there, a bad sign for the bulls. So a good counter trading indicator for those who want to trade that. And then market order flow is just tracking the actual market volatility. So is there more market buying than selling, which is often a good sign for trending trades to the upside, or is there a lot of market selling? Often I find that the best times to get into long positions are kind of right now when the market order flow is in the blue area, indicating moderate buying is occurring. Of course, be pairing this with another method of technical analysis. And when we start reaching a zenith, when that dial starts getting into that massive like overbuying, it either indicates, again, depends on your overall TA, either we're breaking a significant level and we're actually getting a breakout, or we're at the top of a range and we're about to see a reversal, right? So maybe a good time to exit your position, potentially even reversion to the mean, get short. And conversely for extremes of selling market pressure. Then to the right of that, we do have significant buy and sell walls on all the major exchanges: Bitfinex, Binance, Coinbase, BitMEX, Bybit. They're all here. You can see what exchange, the size of the order, and what price it is at. And what's nice about Scalpex is that they also detect hidden sell orders, so they can see when they pop off and pop on and how much is getting filled. Like for example, just a few moments ago, or early over the last hour, two hidden sell orders were filled at 71.78 and 71.83 for about $500,000. Not a significant amount of change, to be quite honest with you. And then on the right hand side, we have data from Cryptometer, and this is going to be showing overall longs and shorts right here. It's going to be showing overall longs and shorts. And then market flow, and that is from the XBT USD. So if we actually go in here and look at BitMEX and go look at XBT USD, we can see the number of longs and shorts on XBT USD, and then our market buys is the quantity of market buys going up or down, and is the quantity of market sells going up or down, and what the indicated price is currently on that exchange. So just helpful stuff. Came after the request to add some more market relevant stuff to the stream while we're live. Great question, my friend. B-Flow asks, if longs are at all-time highs, how come the section on the bottom of your screen is showing there are more shorts than longs right now? The answer is because the longs to shorts that is at an all-time high is the Bitfinex longs to shorts, which is at an all-time high. So we can go look at them right over here on the main chart. And we can see that the longs to shorts ratio is at an all-time high and rising. So still more longs coming on today. We can break that down and look with a little bit more nuance. We can actually see the longs are actually dropping off just a little bit over the last few days. But really this comes from the shorts. The shorts are just exiting the market in mass. Right, so the longs to shorts ratio being at an all-time high is more a significant level of shorts, right? So shorts are at an all-time low, and longs are not actually at an all-time high, right? So there have been higher peaks of longs, and again, every time we kind of get up into this area, the market turns around. So this is a good, has been in the past a good counter trading indicator, I think is what it's best used for. So this is, again, we've talked about the longs and shorts. This is easily manipulatable. And the Bitfinex longs to shorts is different. We can actually see I guess you could figure it out by just looking at overall open interest and then dividing by the percentage of longs and shorts. But you can't directly see, you can't see positions on BitMEX, Bybit, Deribit. You can't see how many people are long, how many people are short. You can only see market orders, like how many market, this is what coinfarm.online tracks, like how many market longs are opening, how many market shorts are opening over a period of time. And that's what the number at the bottom of my screen is tracking. And so it's more germane to shorter term trading. It's more germane to shorter term trading rather than long-term trends, which Bitfinex longs to shorts, since those are actively tracked in a way that is different from BitMEX, Bybit, Deribit. It's just different data. It's just different data to a different time frame for those who look to capitalize on this information for the purposes of gaining an edge in the market. Okay. Agency asks, is there a ticker for BitMEX longs or shorts? There is not. You can use, again, that cryptometer.io, or you can use the more popular coinfarm.online. Now, personally, I've come to like the cryptometer actually better, but coinfarm.online, again, just to explain the difference here, coinfarm.online is just tracking how many market buys and market sells are coming into the order book over a period of time. And so for this number, 50.95% shorts to 49.05% longs, that means over the last 24 hours, right? So so for all the market orders that have rolled into the BitMEX order books over the last 24 hours, 50.96% were shorts and 49.04% were longs. So this is a little bit more germane to momentum trading or intraday trading. Now, something that you can do on coinfarm.online is you can actually go to margin position and go look at open position XBT. And so on BitMEX, you can actually share your position. And so this is a way that you can track, very similar to Bitfinex, how many people are actually long and short. It's something you have to do voluntarily on BitMEX. Currently, you cannot do this on Bybit, to the best of my knowledge. And as we can see here, for those who have decided to share their positions, 53.96% are longs, 46.04% are shorts, okay? So again, this is, the problem with this is that, and some people have said that they have used this to their success. The problem with this is that you are relying on there being enough data from the orders that really matter, or that you can even glean actionable data from this whatsoever, that there's enough data here, because often what can happen is that the orders or the traders that are actually potentially going to move the market are not actually sharing their positions. So that's something to be aware of. You can also do the leaderboard, which I know a lot of people say that they trade off of. And as we can see, the leaderboard says 68% short to 32% long. The problem with this, again, is that these individuals have to opt to share this, and this is being ranked when they close their positions. So again, easily manipulatable. And so you want to be a little bit careful of using this metric. Again, some people say that they have used this successfully to their benefit. Agency then follows up with, isn't BitMEX funding just based on market sells and buys? In a way. So BitMEX funding is related to how far is the mark price from the index price. So funding serves as a tool to disincentivize the market from taking a large run away from the index price, right? So the index price is, so on BitMEX or on all derivatives, you have last price, which is the last price that orders are getting filled at. You have mark price, which is sort of a derivative of the index price. And the mark price is going to be the price that moves a little bit slower than the last price, but fairly quickly. I mean, obviously it doesn't like lag behind the market, but it just moves a little bit slower so you don't get those wild extremes. And that price is going to be based off of liquidations. So mark price actually has to reach your liquidation level for you to get liquidated, not just last price. So an order can actually get filled at your liquidation price, and you won't get liquidated potentially unless the mark price actually goes down there. And that's to protect traders from market manipulation or somebody dumping the book on a spot exchange and then opening long, or conversely on futures. Then you have your index price, which is taking the spot price from multiple exchanges and then combining that to get a smoothed average. Because the idea behind that is, since the mark price is going to be tracking the index price, if you just have, and we've seen this obviously with flash crashes on OKEX, we've seen it with BitMEX, we've seen it with Bybit, we've seen it with Deribit, we've seen all this. Deribit was the most recent one. Now, over time, a lot of these exchanges have dealt with this problem by going to the index method. So again, let's set up in a scenario, an example here. Let's say that we have BitMEX over here, and let's say that BitMEX is not using an index, they're just using the spot price from Coinbase. Well, if you were to go to Coinbase, so let's say you go to BitMEX and you open up a huge short, right? For like 10 million contracts. And then you go to Coinbase and you dump a couple $1,000,000 worth of Bitcoin onto the market. Well, that is going to severely tank the market fairly quickly. So your position over on BitMEX is going to wildly rack up profit, right? You're going to close that out. You're going to buy back your $2 million of the Bitcoin with a portion of your profits. And boom, you've just wiped out the entire order book, manipulated the market to your benefit. Now, the reason why they went to the index system is because it's not easy, but it's not impossible to dump the order book on one exchange. But it is very difficult to do a coordinated attack on multiple order books across multiple exchanges, right? So that is a protection system. And we can see when Deribit flash crashed, it was when Coinbase's order books glitched out. That was a direct, obviously a wake-up call to the Deribit developers that, hey, they're tracking Coinbase's price too closely and their index system isn't fully fleshed out. This was a big reason why a lot of influencers have moved away from Deribit. Whereas BitMEX and Bybit have experienced far less issues with this. Obviously, BitMEX has been around the longest, but Bybit's doing a fantastic job as well. There's a reason why I trade over on Bybit, and I do not trade the perpetuals over on BitMEX anymore. Let's see here. Great question. Actually, sorry. So to correlate, so to go back to answer your question, funding is there to, let's say that how, you might ask, does BitMEX keep the mark price close to the index price? Well, they do it with funding, right? Because if let's say that everybody wanted to take the market long and on BitMEX and not necessarily over on Coinbase, right? They just wanted to, everybody on BitMEX wanted to just market buy. But over on Coinbase, price was just staying relatively level or not rising that dramatically whatsoever. Well, that would be a problem, right? Because now there's divergence in price and that opens up arbitrage opportunities. So what you would do, or what BitMEX has done, what all the derivatives have done, is that they've initiated funding, which means that now funding is just for perpetual contracts. It's not for contract expiration, because when a contract expires, it's going to settle against the index price, or a TEMA, which is a triple exponential moving average, weighted average of the index price. It's complicated. You can read it in the index. Hopefully I can explain it succinctly. So what they've done is they've instituted this funding where when funding is positive, longs are going to pay shorts, and when funding is negative, shorts pay longs, right? And what that does is it disincentivizes people from just market buying longs. And every 8 hours, they're going to get hit with that funding. And this incentivizes orders to be closing out, right? And that helps. So far, it's worked. Keep the mark price relatively close to the index price, so we don't have these wild fluctuations over on the derivatives exchanges that do not correlate to price fluctuations over on the spot exchanges. Obviously, this opens up a unique strategy or edge for individuals who can trade funding. I've talked to individuals who have developed, prior, or like entering right before funding or right after funding, and vice versa. Individuals will often go into a position just to get the rebate from funding, but often there can be wild fluctuations on the BitMEX funding chart. That's why we've traded the 8-hour chart previously, and we've talked about that strategy and that edge. So it's just a unique thing that exists in Bitcoin derivatives trading that doesn't exist really anywhere else because of the perpetual contract, because the perpetual contract is really kind of a baby, a darling, an invention of Bitcoin derivatives. Let's see here. Great question. Don Candon asks, where can I get a Justin Wise 2020 baseball hat? I'll see if Scott can special make one for you, my friend. Dimitri asks, have I heard about Pro Blockchain? I have not. All right, and then we have a few requests here. Liberty asks for ZERP. Let's go check out the ZERP-a-derp. Again, my kind of opinion on the ZERPs has been, again, that it's, we can look at all the majors, and this looks just like Bitcoin's price, right? So here's XRP, here's BTC USD, right? Here's ETH USD, here's Ethereum, looks very similar. Here's EOS, here is Litecoin, all right? They're all moving exactly like Bitcoin is. So in my opinion, unless you see a particular edge or something that I don't, you're probably better off just trading Bitcoin, because you could say if Bitcoin goes up, the dollar pairs and all these other coins are going to go up at this point in time. We don't see any divergence whatsoever, except for very, very minimal divergence. But let's do this. Let's look at some factors with XRP. XRP USD over on Coinbase. Let's bring up so we're kind of looking for longer term trends here. So let's point out our EMAs. Again, very similar thing. We've gotten a weaker rejection here, weaker pushes to the upside from XRP. Same kind of doji on the daily, which often can lead to a little bit of reversal. Rejection from the 13 EMA, rejection from the 21 EMA. Again, kind of looking for that potential breakout trade above the 21 EMA, so above 23 cents. Potential rise and rejection from the secondary baseline, sitting up at about 24.93 cents. And again, I would want to be getting short from that area, very similar to Bitcoin at 8,000. As we sit right now, again, let's actually go look at the Bitfinex chart so we can get a little bit more historical data here. Yeah, as we can see, we had this very, to me, significant level at roughly what do I have? About 24.653 cents. We've kind of broken down from that, as we can see. We were finding support on that multiple times. This was the top of the previous accumulation level back in 2017 before the big breakout. Overall, ZERP looks absolutely terrible to me. It continues to be terrible. I continue to think that it is the worst cryptocurrency project out there. I have never invested in XRP. I have traded XRP, and I cannot be consistent enough in my absolute hatred and distaste for this project and their entire company and business model. Having said that, I guess the only other meme that I can point out here, unlike Bitcoin, it does look like we might be forming something of an inverted head and shoulders, which would be confirmed on this breakout above the 21 EMA. So I don't like head and shoulders. I don't like talking about chart patterns, but that would be something to potentially keep your eye on. But again, you don't need to, because you can just say, well, we've rejected from this horizontal several times. Now we have our tertiary baseline there. If we get a nice close above that, we'll probably come up and test our not only previous level of supply, but that's also where our secondary baseline is going to be sitting at. So potential swing trade breaking above 23 cents to about 24.5 cents, almost 25 cents. Our actual secondary baseline actually sitting at 25 cents. So that's a potential as well. And then I would want to be short from that level unless the market structure significantly changes. But other than that, I mean, if you're holding XRP, you absolutely have to be hedged. There's no reason to be spot long on XRP USD right now, unless you want to call market tops and bottoms. Blockchain Gains asks if we can look at Tezos to the dollar. Tezos to the dollar it is. Tezos to the dollar looking pretty good, man. In a clear uptrend. I don't think there's any reason to not be spot long on Tezos. We haven't gotten any significant shift in trend. Often, whenever we reach these local highs, we can obviously be looking to take profit. We do have, Minx is kind of turning over. It looks like we're going to go for another little bit of a thrust up here. I'm always very wary about wicks like these. Often when we get to the tops of them, or, we can often have a lot of struggle getting over them because there's often a lot of trapped buyers here. Remember, this is people bought up here, right? And then now price is charging its way up here. This is just something that has been, kind of a buy and hold since the breakout up here. Overall, what do I see here? Again, kind of reversal baseline bounce. Beautiful, coming right down to the 13 EMA right here. Let's actually look at this through the lens of PTP. Bring up the baseline right here. We are going to be getting a potential one conf continuation trade on Tezos right here. Let's see here. Would have gotten the initial long signal right here on this candle, and would still be in this trade, actually, because we haven't gotten the exit signal from Minx. So, I don't think this is the best point to be getting long. This does kind of look like a reactionary movement to me. The best opportune time is to kind of get into that baseline. But it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad. And I don't really see a trade here. I don't really see a setup here or an edge for a trade. This thing could go careening to the sky and you'll be mad at me, but I can only speak in terms of edges and what I see in the chart, my friend. Overall, I think there's good reason to be spot long on Tezos. Additional risk trades, I don't see those at this point in time. But again, we are looking like some continuation here, some mild continuation. So potentially looking to scale in potentially here at some lower risk, or kind of setting those bids down at about $1.50, $1.58, 1.5086. Might not be a bad idea to get that little bit of retreat to the baseline, and then if we close below that, cut risk and kind of be looking for those re-entry opportunities. Because as you can see, we weren't actually taking any of these trades right here due to Wadatar explosion, and then that got us in when we were supposed to right here for this nice kind of last currently 15% movement, max peak of about 19%. So kind of unconfirmed, because CCI is below the zero line right here. I'd like to see that above. I'd like to see a little bit of more sustained bullishness here. But on the daily, we're good. This has been a blue sky breakout. There is kind of nothing above us. And when you're kind of in this phase, you just kind of want to hold until you get a significant shift in trend. The key point here is you just got to get in and you got to be patient with these things. If we're going to see a continued acceleration of Tezos' price. It's being shilled really hard. There's a lot of good fundamentals behind Tezos right now. Obviously, is this a good investment opportunity? I don't know. I don't really. Tezos is not in my investment list. From a tradable perspective, again, weak continuation signal. Again, one should have already been in on this signal right here is when PTP would have got you in. And no exit signal yet. Closing below that baseline, getting down below that 150.86 would be an exit signal. Or MATIC getting that cross under. Of course, you guys can be utilizing something like, God forbid, stochastic RSI or linear regression or Gaussian or Gann high low. There's a lot of good exit indicators out there. Don Camden says, I'm a huge XRP fan. I actually have a huge tattoo on my back with the XRP logo. Yeah, you know it, baby. Agent. All right, these are going to be the last two requests I take. We're going to look at Zcash for agency. We're going to look at ZEC USD over on Bitfinex. ZEC USD was a trade that we got into. We took advantage of this spike right here. Looks like we're getting a pretty good. Actually, I need to go double check here. Oh, sorry, I'm still long on Zcash. I had to go double check. I had to pull up my P&L report. Still long on Zcash. BLZ is doing pretty good. Yeah, Neo, BNB, all those look pretty good. Zcash is good, man. As I said, here is the. Let's bring up the baseline right here. And here was the initial long signal. We actually bought right here. We actually bought on the 6th. Yeah, we got in on the 6th. We just missed the primary signal. We got the pullback though in the buy range between here and our qualifying line. As you guys can see, the reason we didn't, we didn't miss the signal. The reason we didn't take it is because it's above our qualifier line. Came back into our buy zone, took the long signal. Obviously, we can see Wadatar explosion, CCI, and MATIC all giving the go-ahead here above the baseline. And then price just started careening off. Price pulled back, opportunity for a re-entry, reversal baseline bounce. We didn't point that out last night, but traders could have noticed that. Depends on the baseline they're using. And again, right back off to the races. So looking at something like Tezos, kind of similar to, I mean, this is why doing the daily scan every single day is absolutely critical. Doing your daily market analysis is absolutely critical because you need to always be vigilant. You can't, be down or depressed. You have to take this seriously and be looking for these opportunities every single day, because when you enter and trade the higher time frames like this, you can be patient and let these trades play out. But if you skip a few days, it's kind of like leg day. If you skip leg day, then your legs are going to get small. And if you skip your daily scan on particular days, you're going to be missing out. Overall, Zcash looks like something I just want to let run at this point in time. Continuing powerful signal from Wadatar explosion. So I would kind of be looking for a blow off here in a little bit. We've hit TP1 on Zcash, so we've moved our stop loss to break even now, and we're just going to let this puppy continue to run. Where would I be looking kind of to be continuing to scale out profit? Well, we don't really have anything significant above us until up here at about 35.68 cents. So if we do actually get a nice run on this, I'd actually be looking for another 12 to 15%, 10 to 15% out of ZEC here. A couple little bumps in the road. Obviously, we got a nice little HVN bump right here at about 32.66. And also at about 34.44. So potential areas to be scaling out some profit, and then kind of looking for that that last target of 13.21. Then we kind of be butting up into our previous level of distribution. So we'll just kind of wait and pause and see if we actually get a strong reversal in trend at that point in time. And then Eli wants us to take a look at Engine. Really? Oh, it's E and J, sorry. Look, man, Engine's had a pretty significant sell-off. This is going to be the second time. Looks like the dollar pairs and the altcoins are performing fairly well today. Bitcoin is being very boring, so that makes a lot of sense. And I don't like buying dramatic pullbacks like this. But here, I'll state this, man. I state this. I like Engine Coin. So if you're looking for optimum kind of entries overall, I think you're in a relatively good price range, especially, if you look out 5, 10, 15 years. I like Engine Coin. I think they're doing the best work in the blockchain space as far as games go. We did pull back all the way back down to the point of control, likely to consolidate here. Can we V-bottom out of here? Possible. I never like to bank on opportunities like that. So beginning to scale in around this level, kind of looking all the way down to that about 6.4 cent area does not seem crazy to me at this point in time. And that's a wide range. That's a wide variance range. But if you position size appropriately and you scale in slowly, you scale in over this kind of 20% area, doesn't make sense for that long-term hold. As far as a good trade setup, I don't really see one. Let's see here. If we were going to kind of look for a trade setup, I would say that the trade is mostly done at this point in time. Bounced off the point of control, pretty much came all the way up to the upper value area boundary right here. Looking at the baseline again, we already had that breakout. We got the signal on Engine Coin right here on this candle right here back on the 3rd of December, and out on well, again, depends on when you fired, but again, definitely out right here, which still beautiful profit. And for anybody who scaled on the way up, just beautiful trade. Break it above the value area here. I would want, again, after a huge just blow off news reaction movement like that, I want to wait like a month or two and just see this cool off, reaccumulate, and then take another rise is what I'd like to see. Getting back above, kind of getting back up into the 9 cent area, I would feel a little bit more aggressive. But if you're feeling aggressive about this one, sometimes that's okay. You can be a little bit more aggressive with your trades, especially on something that is trended and you believe is going to trend strongly. There's nothing here really technical that would point me to exactly the right decision to make with Engine, which means for me, the decision is to do nothing at all and just be happy with the trade that I had. But for those of you kind of wanting to grab up Engine for the long term, which I don't think is a crazy idea for looking at kind of coins out there, I'd say relatively you're in an overall pretty good area of the market to do such a thing. So trade safely, Eli. You know best. You're the shitcoin king, my friend. Okay, Jürgen Ernst asks, hey, I'm late again. Good to see you, Jürgen. We do expect a dump, right? Question mark. Or you all pushing those insane longs? Yes. So short answer, yes. Expecting a movement down to 4,900. If you go rewatch the analysis today, I lay out kind of the different setups, not only from the so positionally, I'm hedge short on Bitcoin. Doesn't matter if Bitcoin goes to 9,000, I'm going to be hedge short on Bitcoin. there's a few things that might change that demeanor. It kind of depends on what we do at 8,000. Okay, so let me bring that number 9,000 down to 8,000. So positionally, head short on Bitcoin until we have a significant change in market structure. Something technically that would indicate that this is actually a bottom. Meso time frame. If we get a close above 70, if we get a close above the daily 21 EMA, I'd be looking for a long swing to 8,000. Getting filled short there for a movement down to 4,900 eventually. Most likely going to bounce around in this range for a few protracted weeks, maybe even a protracted month. As far as today goes, I think that the intraday trade is most likely to the upside because we are at our current level of demand. Excuse me. Potential thrust down to 70.85 or 6,900 is on the table. If we get a close below that on something like the 4-hour, though, I would be very, very wary and be looking for a more pronounced breakout trade. So, today it's kind of a tricky area of the market. You kind of got to be on your toes or just stay flat if you cannot handle the stress of managing multiple positions. But yeah, overall, macro, downside, meso, range bound, and lower time frames, most likely trading, it would be scalping to the upside and looking for that kind of liquidity grab down to 70.85, 6,900. And final question is from Ninja Fist TV. He asks, how do I feel about the absolute strength index oscillator? AST is okay. I've used it. Never used it in a fully fleshed out strategy. I've back tested it a little bit. It's decent. It gives kind of later signals. It's pretty good. I think if you speed it up a little bit, it'd probably be a relatively good line cross or relatively decent oscillator. It's okay. I mean, you can, it's kind of the interplay between the indicators that makes them good. I don't think the absolute strength indicator is any worse or better than any other the majors out there. Although it's pretty good. It doesn't give a lot of false signals. It just tends to give them a little slower, in my experience. So I think that you can counterbalance that by finding something that's a little bit more sensitive. And of course, you can just speed up the AST if you like it. And finding your confirmers that are looking at different data metrics or running a different algorithm. Running price through a different mathematical algorithm. Mr. Ether says that one guy skips leg day every day. Sai Dileep says, can I invest in Bitcoin now? I mean, a company uses for trade using bots. Do I get returns? Is it safe? No. The answer is no. No, that's a scam, bro. That's a scam. Any random company or individual or person contacting you, asking you to invest in their automated trading system or their traders that do not have a track record, that do not have a professional company that's licensed or at least has again, there are some, very few, but some okay funds in the cryptocurrency space. But they're known, they're vetted, they're not going to advertise to random retail individuals. Be very wary because you said something like you're kind of a high net worth individual. That makes you a target for scams and spam. And anybody, and this goes for anybody, 99% of the time, anybody reaching out to you that is offering you risk-free returns, there's no such thing as risk-free returns. It almost always ends in heartache and tragedy. Just say no. Just say no. Just say no to people advertising risk-free returns. Just say no. No, we don't advertise that. Like we run an educational premium trading group. We provide analysis, we provide signals, but I am very upfront that when you guys join us, you are going to learn how to trade. And I'm going to teach you from step one to the final step. I'm going to cross the finish line with you, but it takes work. It takes patience. And those, the people that join, that put in the time and put in the grind, they're successful. And the people that don't, they don't get the results they want. You have to put in the time. You have to put in the work because nothing in life is given for free, man. Nothing in life is given for free. Everything takes patience. Now, education is worth paying for. Get rich quick opportunities, never worth paying for. All that time and stress that you're going to spend worrying about, where your money is, who's managing your money, you just put that money into education. All right, education is worth spending money on, not scams, bro. It's a scam. Stay away. As far as is Bitcoin safe to buy and hold as an investment, the answer is no. It's not safe. Bitcoin is a highly volatile asset and its future is unknown. We have competing blockchains. We have competing social pressures. We have pressure from the governments. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that it's 100% sure that Bitcoin's going to be six figures, man. We're going to the moon. Guys, Bitcoin can go to zero, right? I know nobody wants to hear that, and I know that's an unpopular opinion, but Bitcoin can fail. Right? It's not a sure thing. We're only 10 years into this thing. Now, we've got incredible momentum, an incredible community. We've got incredible technology, incredible development. We've got a real chance to change the world here. And I think I'm invested in Bitcoin quite heavily. But I'm also, if Bitcoin went to zero, I would not be financially devastated, right? I have a dividend portfolio. I have investments in real estate. I have investments in precious metals. I have investments in some money markets. I trade actively the cryptocurrency markets. I'm beefing up my Forex strategies to, again, I've only been running low capital tests so far, just haven't had the time to delve full foray back into the Forex markets and trade with large capital again. But I'm ramping up to do that and begin doing that. And the Forex education that we're going to be doing in 2020. We're working on, automated lower time frame systems that we're going to be introducing probably later in 2020. We've got an app coming out. There's so much that we're doing and that I've done over the last 10 years to, build up my wealth, protect myself, and prepare for whichever way the market goes. So, is it safe? No. Is it a worthy risk? My opinion is yes. And, remember, and this kind of goes to everybody as well. I don't want you to come away from that very negative, like, oh, this Bitcoin believer just said that Bitcoin can go to zero. The reality is this, like everything in life has risk. And if I've learned anything, I'm gonna leave you guys with this. Everything in life is risk. And there's only one thing in life that is absolutely certain. And that is that one day, your journey on this earth, your journey as the person that you are right now, will end. That is inevitable. Nobody cheats death. And one day, everything that you've done, everything that you are, will be so much dust to the wind, my friends. So faced with that inevitability, the only thing that makes sense, right? So cheating death, gambling death, that's a gamble that you can't win. It's a coin toss that you can't win. It will always come up heads in the favor of death. So with that being known, if you accept that, then the only thing left that makes sense is to gamble on something that you have a chance at winning. And what is that? That is living the life that you dream that you would live when you lay your head on your pillow at night. All those thoughts that go through your head, like, I should have done this today. I'm going to wake up and do this tomorrow. I wish I had done that. I wish I had done this. This is your one chance. Now, I don't know what happens after we spring from this mortal coil. Afterlife might exist. God might be in his heaven. All might be right with the world. But I do know that all I can empirically know right now is that I don't know. And I have to be okay and I have to be comfortable with that. And blessed with that knowledge, armed with that knowledge, the only thing that makes sense is to strive, is to gamble on something that you can win. With no risk comes no reward. Investing in Bitcoin, investing in anything whatsoever, investing in yourself, investing in your education, investing in your personal growth, those are all risks. Why? Because anything that you individually invest in might not play out, might be a poor investment, might fail. But you get back up, you dust yourself off, and you keep jumping for those stars. You keep striving for the next goal. You keep striving for the next milestone, and you grow, and you live your dreams, and you be nice to people, and you find somebody that you love, and you love your family, and you love your friends, and you laugh, and you enjoy life. And you do not live in the rat race, because safety and security and stability is important. We all want that for our families, but you only have this one life on earth that you know of. Everything else is belief. What you empirically know is that you have this one chance to live a great life. Do not forsake that. Do not waste that. And, sometimes some individuals are going to be more suited to taking more risk, and that's fine. They'll have a potential greater reward, but they'll also have greater risk. But even the most conservative among you, watching this channel, most of you are going to be already in that tier of, well, bought a little Bitcoin, spice it up a little bit, bought a little gold, let's spice it up a little bit. Do that. Embrace that. Continue to live it. I've been Justin Wise for Breaking Bitcoin, guys. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, or death threats, make sure to leave them in the comment section down below. I will respond to them as best as I can. Let's do the comment giveaway question a little bit differently today. By the way, I got to distribute those rewards over on DLive. Don't think I forgot. Don't think I forgot. Distributing those rewards. Let's do, because obviously if people are able to guess at the candle close, that does kind of open it up to a little bit of manipulation. So how about we start the stream at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time every single day. So how about you guys guess what is going to be the price of Bitcoin at noon tomorrow Central Standard Time, 12 p.m. CST, okay? That's 1 p.m. on the Eastern Seaboard, and you guys can do the UTC calculation, -6, so that'd be 6 p.m. UTC, all right? Or 1800 UTC. And those answers, I'm going to say, have to be in by midnight tonight. Okay. So, 12 a.m. CST or 6 a.m. UTC. Okay. You guys can do the math. It's easy. I think that makes it a little bit more fair, right? And we will randomly pick a commenter, whoever is the closest, not randomly. We will pick whoever's closest and they will win. So again, guess what the price of Bitcoin will be at the beginning of tomorrow's show. Comment down in the section below and you can win some free crypto, guys. If you guys want to trade along with us, if you guys would like to receive personal mentorship, access to our proprietary indicators, our proprietary strategies, our private Discord community, as well as our online learning academy and all of our educational material, please check out the link at the top of the screen, premium.krakencryptocurrency.com. We are the fastest growing trading and educational group on the interwebs, and I'm very pleased and very proud to run this company and to work with some of the best professionals in the business. We'll be here tomorrow, guys, at noon p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure to trade safely and go live your dreams, guys.